Well, hello there. They say you can't teach an old sea dog new tricks. But this old dog has seen a thing or two, and let me tell you, the Atlantic Ocean is full of stories that would make a sailor blush. Forget what you think you know. We're about to dive into 10 of the wildest, most unbelievable truths about that big blue expanse, and we're going to do it at a pace that even a spry young dolphin would find brisk. We're calling it a fact-a-minute frenzy. 10 minutes, 10 facts. No fluff, no filler. Just pure, unadulterated oceanic wonder. So, grab your life vest, or perhaps just a comfortable chair, and prepare to have your mind gently blown. Or mythical sea serpents, although we might get close. What I am promising is a journey into the heart of the Atlantic's strangest secrets, from underwater mountains taller than any on land, to a sea that has no shore. It's a world that defies our expectations at every turn, a place of immense power and delicate beauty. Think of me as your captain for this brief voyage. I'll steer the ship, you just enjoy the view. And if you learn something that makes you look at that endless water with a little more awe and perhaps a touch of healthy respect, then my job here is done. Now, let's cast off. The clock is ticking, and our first stop is a place where the Earth itself is being reborn. Our first port of call is the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Now, most people think of mountains as things you climb, things that scrape the sky. But the longest mountain range on our planet isn't in the Himalayas or the Andes. No, it's sleeping at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. Stretching for over 10,000 miles, from the Arctic nearly to the Antarctic, this colossal chain of volcanoes is where the very floor of the ocean is being created. It's a seam running down the center of the world, a place of constant fiery birth. Imagine two massive conveyor belts, the North American tectonic plate and the Eurasian tectonic plate, moving apart at about the same speed your fingernails grow. It doesn't sound like much, does it? But over millions of years, this slow, inexorable separation allows magma from deep within the Earth's mantle to bubble up, cool, and solidify. This process builds the ridge, peak by peak, valley by valley. It's a construction project on a planetary scale. You see, the Earth is always renovating. It doesn't send out for a contractor or draw up blueprints. It just does it. This is Earth's little DIY project. While we're up here worrying about repainting the living room, the planet is down there, literally building new real estate from molten rock. It's a humbling thought, isn't it? That a force so powerful is constantly at work, hidden beneath the waves. It's where the old world splits apart to make way for the new. The ridge is scarred with hydrothermal vents, black smokers, that spew out superheated, mineral-rich water, creating oases for life forms that thrive in conditions that would kill anything else. These are ecosystems that don't rely on the sun, but on the chemical energy from the planet's molten heart. Now, let's drift into something truly peculiar. Every sea you've ever heard of is defined by land. The Mediterranean is hugged by Europe and Africa. The Caribbean is sprinkled with islands. But there is one sea that scoffs at this convention. I'm talking about the Sargasso Sea. It is the only sea in the world that is defined not by a coastline, but by ocean currents. It's a vast, slow-spinning vortex of calm water in the middle of the North Atlantic, a sea within an ocean. Its boundaries are the powerful currents that swirl around it. Gulf Stream to the west, North Atlantic Current to the north, Canary Current to the east, North Atlantic Equatorial Current to the south. These currents corral a massive, floating ecosystem of golden brown seaweed called sargassum. For centuries, sailors feared this place, telling tales of ships becoming hopelessly entangled in the endless mats of weed, doomed to drift forever. But the truth is far more magical than menacing. This floating forest is not a graveyard for ships, but a nursery for life. Let's take a journey downwards to the deepest point in the entire Atlantic Ocean. We're headed for the Puerto Rico Trench, a place so profound, so utterly dark, it makes Mount Everest look like a gentle hill. It's where sunlight officially goes on vacation and never comes back. Located just north of the island of Puerto Rico, this trench plunges to a staggering depth, about 8,376 meters, nearly 27,500 feet. That's over 5 miles straight down. If you were to take Mont Blanc and drop it into the trench, its peak would still be more than 2 miles below the surface. The pressure down there is immense, over 1,000 times what we experience at sea level. It's enough to crush a military submarine like a soda can. Even here, in the crushing blackness of the Milwaukee Deep, life finds a way. Strange, ghostly creatures drift through the eternal night. Bioluminescent fish create their own light, flashing and glowing like constellations in the void, hunting for meals that are few and far between. The trench itself is a geological marvel, formed by the complex dance of tectonic plates. The North American plate is being forced down, subducted beneath the Caribbean plate, a deep scar that still rumbles. 2.5 miles beneath the surface, off the coast of Newfoundland, lies perhaps the most famous shipwreck in the world, the RMS Titanic. She rests in a place of perpetual darkness and near-freezing temperatures, a silent monument to a night of terrible loss and, let's be honest, a fair bit of human hubris. The unsinkable ship, on her maiden voyage, met her match in a chunk of ancient ice. The Atlantic did not care for her reputation or the wealth of her passengers. The ocean is the great equalizer. Down there, the pressure is immense, around 6,000 pounds per square inch. It's a hostile environment, one that has become the Titanic's final resting place, her tomb and her museum all at once. Scientists have discovered that the ship is being slowly consumed, not by rust as we think of it, but by colonies of bacteria, rusticles, that are literally eating the ship's steel hull. Experts estimate that within a few more decades, the iconic bow section could collapse entirely, and the wreck will become little more than a reddish-brown stain on the seabed. A wry lesson, served cold. You might think the weather in London or Paris has little to do with the currents off the coast of Florida, but you'd be mistaken. The Atlantic is home to a massive, powerful river of warm water called the Gulf Stream, and it acts as one of the planet's most important climate controls. It's a colossal conveyor belt of heat, and without it, much of Western Europe would have a climate more like Siberia. This river starts in the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. It flows up the eastern seaboard of the United States, carrying an immense volume of tropical heat. The Gulf Stream transports more water than all the world's rivers combined. As it travels northeast across the Atlantic, it gradually releases this heat into the atmosphere. Prevailing westerly winds carry that warmed, moist air to Europe. That's why Ireland is the Emerald Isle, and why palm trees can grow in parts of Scotland. It's why London's winters are damp and gray instead of icy and brutal. It's like North America is constantly loaning Europe its thermostat. But the system is delicate. Scientists warn melting Greenland glaciers could disrupt the flow. An influx of cold, fresh water could slow or alter the Gulf Stream's path, with unpredictable, drastic consequences for global weather. A stark reminder, the ocean's magic is a finely balanced system we tamper with at our peril. It sounds like a riddle, but it's true. It's called the Denmark Strait Cataract. It puts Niagara Falls to shame. It puts Victoria Falls to shame. Located in the strait between Greenland and Iceland, this is not a waterfall in the traditional sense. There is no cliff. Instead, it's a cascade of cold, dense water from the Nordic seas, meeting the warmer, lighter water of the Erminger Sea. Because the cold water is heavier, it spills down and over an immense drop in the ocean floor. The drop is more than 11,500 feet high, nearly 3 times the height of the world's tallest above-ground waterfall. The sheer volume of this underwater cascade is almost impossible to comprehend. It flows at a rate of over 5 million cubic meters per second. That's about 2,000 times the flow of Niagara Falls. Cold, dense water sinking here is one of the main engines that drives the global conveyor belt of ocean currents. It's like Mother Nature's plumbing on a grand scale. A little comedic astonishment is, I think, the only appropriate response. Ah, the Bermuda Triangle. No tour of the Atlantic's mysteries would be complete without a stop here. It's a stretch of ocean roughly between Bermuda, Florida, Puerto Rico, and it has a reputation, a spooky one. For decades, we've heard the stories. Ships vanishing without a trace, planes disappearing from radar, compasses spinning wildly mysterious lights in the sky. It's the stuff of late-night documentaries and pulp novels. The legend of Flight 19, a group of Navy bombers that disappeared in 1945, is often cited. But here's where science, that old party pooper, steps in. The Bermuda Triangle is no more dangerous than any other heavily trafficked stretch of ocean. Disappearances aren't statistically significant. Weather, currents, and occasional magnetic quirks do most of the work. Frankly, I suspect I've lost more socks in my laundry room than the Triangle has lost ships. And nobody's blaming little green men for that. At least, not yet. For as long as we have sailed the seas, we have told stories of monsters lurking in the deep. The Kraken, Leviathan, serpents large enough to swallow a ship whole. These were the nightmares of early mariners, born from fear of the unknown. But, what if I told you that one of the most legendary sea monsters is very, very real? I'm talking about the giant squid, Architeuthis ducks, sucker-shaped scars on the bodies of sperm whales. They're mortal enemies. It wasn't until 2004 that a giant squid was first photographed alive in its natural habitat. And not until 2012 that one was filmed. We finally had proof. The monster was real. The giant squid can grow up to 43 feet long. Eyes the size of dinner plates, the largest in the animal kingdom. Those eyes capture the faintest bioluminescence. 8 arms and 2 longer feeding tentacles lined with powerful suckers. They are formidable predators, rulers of a world we can barely visit. They live at depths of 1,000 to 3,000 feet. A true battle of titans, the ocean's largest toothed predator versus its largest invertebrate. So while we may have found the giant squid, who knows what else is down there? It would be polite to at least RSVP before showing up for dinner. The ocean is the last great frontier for discovery on our own planet. Sound travels differently in water than it does in air. It travels farther and it travels faster. The Atlantic has a special natural sound highway. It's called the SOFAR channel, sound fixing and ranging, a unique layer in the water column where sound speed is at a minimum. Physics of refraction makes the channel act like a guide, trapping sound waves and carrying them across oceans. The corridor sits around 3,000–4,000 feet deep, varying with location and temperature. The military discovered this in W2 used it to locate downed pilots by detonating small charges within the channel. Hydrophones could pick that sound up thousands of miles away, but whales used it long before humans. Fin whales. Blue whales sing deep resonant songs pitched perfectly for SOFAR. They communicate across ocean basins. A whale off Newfoundland might be heard by one off Ireland. Even in the ocean, gossip travels fast. A symphony in the deep, a conversation that spans continents. We've journeyed through the Atlantic's wonders, its power, and its mysteries. But our final fact is a more somber one. A story written not by nature, but by us. Floating in the same currents that define the Sargasso Sea is the North Atlantic garbage patch. Not a solid island of trash, but a thick, swirling soup of plastic. Microplastics, tiny fragments from larger items, bottles, bags, fishing nets. The same currents that corral sargassum also trap our waste. Scientists estimate hundreds of thousands of tons of plastic, a toxic legacy of throwaway culture. The impact on marine life is devastating. Seabirds, turtles, fish, they fill their stomachs with indigestible junk. Plastic acts like a sponge for pollutants, concentrating toxins that move up the food chain, from smallest plankton to the largest whales, and possibly to our own dinner plates. This won't solve itself. Plastic takes hundreds, even thousands of years to decompose, a direct reflection of our habits on land. A way doesn't exist, but the Atlantic, for all its power, is vulnerable. Seeing the problem is step one, a call to be better, to think about consequences. A humorous, earnest plea from an old man who loves the sea? Let's leave it a little cleaner than we found it. Our wild, wonderful ocean deserves at least that much. And so, our 10-minute tour comes to a close. We've journeyed from the planet's longest mountain range to its deepest trench, from a sea without shores to a waterfall without air. We've unmasked a myth, met a monster, and listened in on the ocean's private gossip line. Thank you for joining this old man at sea on this whirlwind voyage. I hope you've enjoyed our little fact-a-minute frenzy. 10 facts in 10 minutes. As promised, the Atlantic is a place of staggering complexity and beauty, and we've only skimmed the surface. There is a lifetime of wisdom held within those waves. It's a world that commands our respect, our curiosity, and now, more than ever, our protection. So, the next time you stand at the edge of the shore and look out at that vast expanse of blue, until next time, stay curious.